Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. Aspects of Aging weekly talk show with Christine A. Smith. Unscripted conversations with experts. AgingBetterNetwork.com. Seattle School of Chen. Established in 2006, dedicated to promoting Chen family-style Taiji Quan in the Pacific Northwest. SeattleChenTaiji.com. The Jalot Home Team, Keller Williams, Mid-Willamette Realty, serving Lynn, Fenton, Marion, Lane, and Polk counties. Visit TeamJalot.com. Avalos Car Media Group. Ollie and her team are helping entrepreneurs and businesses break through barriers, expand their reach, and thrive on a global scale. ACMGdigital.com. And now let's get on with the show.
Ta-da! The question is, at the beginning of the show, are we actually going to be on or not? And here we are. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And we are so glad for and amazed by this audience and this community that is such a blessing to us. Right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. And today's going to be a fun day. This is the time of year when we all pause and think about the things that we're thankful for. And I am thankful for our two guests today because they've been instrumental in where we are today with our program. And
that's true.
Here we are closing out another year pretty soon here.
Yeah, and we're so excited for Thanksgiving here in my household. Want to remind everybody, the hashtag 1000 thanks that we actually started using a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now. And it's just a reason for you to remember to be thankful and to let others know that you're thankful. You can use it on social media or whatever you want, but hashtag 1000 thanks is a lot of fun. Good way to remember Thanksgiving and the whole year should be thankful, right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you'll see it at the end of all of the shows that Russ is producing, the 1000 thanks movement. So we encourage people. This is a great time of the year to reflect and take that with you through the other 11 months.
That's right. For sure. For sure. And I am also super blessed and excited for our guest today. But before we get to Mr. Chris Stone and Jim Fuhs, who were instrumental in getting us going, I just want to remind people that we are here every Wednesday. I almost forgot today. Every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. After we get done with this going live, it sits on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook forever, which means you can go back, you can rewatch it, you can share it, you can engage, you can connect. So many great things. But you say to me, Russ, I'm sorry, I don't have time to sit around and watch video. Guess what? Then it converts to audio podcasts. You can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. And you can do it while you're getting ready for work, while you're jogging, walking, cooking dinner, whatever. And so you can do that today. A lot of times I like to wind down at the end of the day listening to a live stream or a podcast. And my beautiful wife loves to listen to them while she's getting ready for work. So there's a lot of opportunities there. So also want to remind you that we are here every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also, more information on us. You can always go to local.theexperience.video, a nifty little page that Scott created, tells more about him and myself, as well as all of our shows, which the Experience Local is on Mondays at 9 a.m. Pacific. Also, the Waco Experience, which is broadcasting on radio and podcast on what day, Scott?
Yeah, so the Waco Experience, an American Story, is every Saturday morning at 8:30 Texas Standard Time on KBPW, and that's broadcasting from Dallas down to Austin. And then, of course, it's out as a podcast for everybody if you're not in range of the broadcast towers.
Yeah, and in fact, the Experience Local is also broadcast on uh, KWIL
Mhm.
AM here in Albany, Oregon, and KYKN in Salem, Oregon. And you
Okay.
can listen to those online as well. That's right.
Yeah,
Kicking.
absolutely. Yeah, it's great stuff. You can find KYKN on TuneIn Radio. So
There you
anywhere in the
go.
world, go ahead and listen to the Experience Local. It's a great show. But speaking of great shows, Russ.
Yes, yes, we're going to get to that. I just want to remind people one more thing, and that is please subscribe to our YouTube page. And
Mhm.
if you don't want to weed through local.theexperience.video, just go straight to theexperience.video and it'll take you directly to our YouTube page and you can
Mhm.
subscribe today. Love for you to do that. All right. With
Yeah,
that, let's
that link, www.theexperience.video, is a trick that we learned from our guest, Jim Fuhs.
that's
So
right.
we're going to learn more today and be
And I
inspired.
use that today for all my shows. So anyway, let's start with Mr. Jim Fuse this morning to get things started.
All right,
Morning,
let's do
Jim.
marketing the Marine
Good
Corps way.
morning, but I'm going to give credit to Chris Stone. He taught me that trick. Maybe I told you guys after he told me, but
I just,
I give credit where credit is due.
Jim, having you and Chris here, I feel like we've making the pilgrimage to our mentors at the top of the mountain today.
There you go. Well, you know what I love? I love that, Jim, and all that you've taught us. But you know what cracks me up about those? Every year when I go to renew them, it reminds me of how good retail marketing, well, I don't know if it's say good, but how retail marketing works in things, because as soon as you pay the dollar for the first year, the next year it's $20, the next year it's $40, the next year, this year I paid like $80. I don't know, it keeps going up, but
Yeah,
it's worth every penny. It really is. It makes it nice and easy for people. So I
Mhm.
appreciate that.
well, that's good. Yeah, and there's all kinds of new programs coming out. So who knows what'll be next? But yeah, as long as this keeps working, it's a good platform.
It is. It is. Well, hey, Jim, give everybody a little snippet. Who is Mr. Jim Fuse and what are you up to?
Yeah, so I'm the president of Fusion Marketing. I'm a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel. My tagline is I do marketing the Marine Corps way, and I've really been focusing on remote live stream production and working with a company called Relatable, and actually have just created a podcast template where 6 steps by using our platform you can grow your podcast, or for that matter, live stream audience organically by using interactive video relationship software.
Wow. Very interesting.
So
Very interesting.
just give us a little bit, peek into Relatable.
Yeah, so you literally, all you need is your phone face and your finger, and you can record it on your phone. You can do it on your desktop, and then inside the video itself, we have the ability to create menus, to actually even lead people to other videos that you maybe have created. And the real big thing that we just recently did is called reminders. So when you go in, say for an example, if you guys had sent this out to your email list or texted it, or made a Facebook, LinkedIn post, put it on Blue Sky. That's one of my new favorite platforms. When you click the reminder, it lets you put it on Apple, Gmail, or Outlook calendars, and I don't even need your email address. So you're going to have the link to the show right there. Now it's on the calendar, right? The reminder pops up, hey, in 30 minutes, it's going to be the experience. I mean, that's been always the struggle, if you think about it, as a show host or show producer, is how do I remind people that we've got this coming up? I'm in a mastermind group. I actually created one so everybody had a reminder about when the Zoom call is, and the Zoom link is in there. So that's what I find to be, I think it's a game changer. I think as we roll it out more and show people how to build their audience, it's going to be a great tool for people.
I'm thinking, Jim, is it kind of like a decision tree? So I could do a video if I was a CPA, and then I could say, we do taxes. Are you a business or individual? And it would take them to a different video
Yes.
tree. So this is fabulous.
Yes.
So that it really customizes the experience of the user.
Exactly.
Wow. We're going to have to talk more about that because that's very interesting. But I'm going to get Mr. Chris Stone in the room here to add him into this conversation. Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys. Can't wait to be a part of the experience.
Well, I love your background. It's very, very nice. And so,
there you
go.
That? I can't take credit for the artwork here. Somebody else created that beautiful thumbnail, and I was like, hey, if it's got a picture of Jim Fuhs on it, well, I gotta put it behind me.
I don't take credit for my background either. That was created before I was born, actually.
Yeah, a little bit.
I would think so. Yeah. Well, Chris, give us a little insight. Who is Mr. Chris Stone? It's been a while. What are you up to?
I have a company called Cast Ahead at castahead.net, and we produce podcasts for people who don't want to know how to do it. And so we just set up everything for them, from guests to live streams, moderation, and repurposing content all over the interwebs. All you got to do is come out of your trailer, be the star, turn on your microphone and your camera, and we do all the rest. And I co-host some wacky podcast with some other guy named Jim Fuhs called DEALCASTERS, where we go live on the biggest mall of the world and solve people's problems related to tech, podcasting, live streaming, and have really great motivational interviews with people to solve their issues with content creation and getting past the mind junk of everything.
Yeah, no, that's so amazing. I learned so much from both of you, and still learning. You guys have the coolest backgrounds. Way to just roll into the right colors and looking good and all of that stuff. Let me ask you, Jim. You and I met originally, I believe, through the Global Tea Break. If I remember right. And we started talking. You and I had several conversations, and you kind of would give me tips and information. You were so helpful long before I was even really podcasting or live streaming. But what really piqued your interest to go into that? When I met you, you were already doing a show. You already were moving that direction. What got you started?
Well, I think part of it is curiosity. I think I've always enjoyed learning and trying new things, and I've always been I guess you could say, a tech geek at heart. I had a Commodore 64 way back in the day, so I'm dating myself a little bit. But at the time, I was doing social media marketing for other companies, and this thing called Facebook Live came out, and it's like, they're going to need to use this. One of the secrets, it's not really a secret. When Facebook or Instagram tells you what they want you to do, if you want exposure, you do it. So, hey, they wanted everyone to do Facebook Live. You guys probably remember the days when you get all kinds of viewers just by going live. So I was like, well, if I'm going to have them go live, I've got to do it as well. It's kind of, Chris and I talk about, you got to eat your own dog food, right? I'm not going to be a good remote producer if I've never been on screen myself. I've got to understand the challenges of the people that I'm working with. So I think, that's how I always look at things. Even as a Marine officer, I have to know the jobs of the people under me. And so I need to understand how they're doing the job, not only so that I understand their challenges, but so I can also troubleshoot, find ways for their job to become more efficient and easier. And I think it's the same with live streaming. Like, what can we do to make things better? I think too many times, Chris and I see this all the time. That's one of the things about our show with DEALCASTERS is really it's the KISS method, right? Keep it simple. I won't use the last S, but because because the reality is, like right now, I'm using a Instalink 360 camera. I was using a Sony ZV-E10, but now I started having problems with it. Well, this Instalink is a lot cheaper than me going out and buying a $2,000 camera, and I think people get caught up in like, oh, I got to spend thousands of dollars to go live. No, you can use your phone. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you have good audio. And good lighting can be, you're just in a room where the sunlight is coming from the front of you, not the back of you. So you're not in the witness protection program. So I think those are just some of those little things that we've learned. Chris and I like to, break the internet a lot. And that's how a lot of the things that you see we do is Chris, I can't give him enough credit for the amazing things he does, especially with our repurposed video stuff and even just our graphics. And that's, and I'm gonna brag on Chris a little bit. I'd probably say, Chris, 6 years ago, you weren't doing this stuff, right? But Chris put in the effort, right? Iron sharpens iron. That's how we have gotten to where we have, is because we keep working at it. We don't just say, we made it, right? Because things change, right? Platforms change. We like to say we're platform agnostic, because even now, right? The StreamYard has been a great company for many years, but you hear people sometimes rumbling like, hey, I'm starting to have problems, or people don't like that they've increased the price. So what do you do now? Well, if you put all your eggs in that one basket, you put yourself in a lot of trouble. But
I love
that's a little bit
there, Chris.
Yeah.
I want to jump over to DEALCASTERS too, because one of the things, Jim and Chris, I want to talk to you about this. But Jim, we were all doing some form of, well, not all of us, many of us were doing some form of live video. By the way, I love Periscope on Twitter. To me, that was a great instant source of news, right? So when there was an issue going on, the hurricane or whatever, I hit the hashtag go, and you're finding live video streaming out from people who are there. And then Facebook Live, then LinkedIn. And if you were lucky enough to get the keys, right, to LinkedIn live streaming video. And then I'm talking with Jim, and he's mentioning this thing, Amazon Live. And I'm like, all right, Periscope, Facebook Live, LinkedIn. What's this exotic thing that you're talking about? So, Chris, can you tell us about what you guys are doing there and how this all works?
Yeah. So initially, that was really the differentiator for Jim and I. We knew we wanted to do a show, and this was our, not excuse, but this was our little raft that we thought at the time was the way for us to do a show. Jim and I met at a networking event in Atlanta, became fast friends, even though we were technically sort of competitors, I guess, because we were both doing remote production and podcasting and live streaming and digital marketing in general. But we really wanted to begin to work together, and we were doing shows together. We were doing remote events together. We're like, we need to do a show. We have to find an excuse to do a show. And we were like, I don't know what it looks like. It's probably tech related, because our clients are always wondering what microphone we should buy. It all ends up being product related. And that whole process, if you're dealing with clients, is very clunky. It's really just sort of like I'm dealing with one right now, and a client's basically like, can you just buy me something and send it to me? And it's like, so Jim and I were like, how can we do this, more en masse? How can we impact more people generally without, individually doing this stuff? And Jim watched a video from our friend Ross Brand, and he said, hey, Amazon lets you sort of become what's called an Amazon influencer. Now they're called Amazon creators. And you can go live on Amazon. And so Jim, being the curious person, as he mentioned, and we all are, he just said, I wonder, since I have a big, huge Twitter following like Kim Kardashian, I wonder if I can be an Amazon influencer. And so that's what he called me up, and he said, hey, at the time, DEALCASTERS didn't exist. He said, we're Amazon influencers. Let's do a show. And immediately I was like, yes, this is where we do our show. We had about a 2-hour conversation there, guys. And at the end of the conversation, we had a name for the show. We had a logo for the show. And we just went. We just put our foot on the gas pedal, made mistakes down the road, but eventually got ourselves, up in the platform, started doing interviews with people. Jennifer Watson from the Weather Channel at the time, Agora Pulse, Dave Jackson, Profit from Your Podcast, Chris Kermitzos, who heads up Podfest Multimedia. Because we had these connections, they were like, oh, you're doing a show on Amazon? Wow, how exotic, right? And so we started doing that kind of stuff, and it became a differentiator. People were like, hey, Jim and Chris are the quote unquote Amazon guys. And what people don't realize is that you can't attach yourself to a platform, right? You are, your brand and what you do and all of those things can't be attached to things like YouTube and Amazon and Spotify and all of these, sort of pipes. Because once Jeff Bezos snaps his fingers and says, this doesn't exist anymore, you don't have a seat at any table, right? So we never got into this thing to be the Amazon guys. We were remote producers creating a show, creating a podcast to show people, hey, this is what we do. Here is what Jim and Chris do. Here's our personality. Here's our quote unquote expertise in these platforms. You may call us the Amazon guys, and we're not going to tell you we're not the Amazon guys. But if Amazon goes away, and it certainly is not as quote unquote profitable as it once was. However, we still have a brand. We built that brand. Thank you, Amazon, for allowing us to be on that platform and be able to do that. But if Amazon says, guys, you're canceled, or you go away, we're still here. We still have tons of content that we're creating, serving people, solving people's problems, and it's absolutely gratifying. Here we are on Thanksgiving week, being thankful for all kinds of things. And I'm thankful for Jim that he, approached me that day and said, hey, I'm Jim Fuhs of Fusion Marketing. Let's do something together. I heard what you do. Let's do that. And I think it's important for everyone when you're building a show or doing a personal brand, don't do it alone. Right. Russ, you and Scott have created this thing. You're on episode 184, and it is just amazing to see how how you guys work together, your friendship and everything that you've done to build this community. Don't do it alone, folks. If you're there and you want to build a show, find somebody that you can surround yourself with and will help you sort of, grow, whatever community that you have or whatever thing that you want to do, your mission, your book, your profitability. I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to let you guys talk. Sorry, I got wound up.
Surround yourself with those who will not let you fail. And Jim, you talked about that with the mastermind.
Yes. Yeah. That's the whole thing, right? Whether it's a mastermind, whether it's having a business coach, you can't do it alone. You need somebody to hold you accountable. Chris holds me accountable and vice versa. That's, we had a little, we'll call it a vacation from the show, but now we're booked in the next year. We've got a lot of great guests coming up. We just interviewed Peg Fitzpatrick last week on the day of the release of her new book. And she's a big deal, at least in mine and Chris's eyes. And then we had Brandon Berkmeyer. We just had him on talking about his book on leadership. And so, we're still continuing to do that stuff. And what's interesting too, Chris talks about, Amazon and how it's changed, but over time, because we didn't just focus on Amazon, we had stuff on the other channels. Well, our YouTube channel this year became monetized. So now we're getting growth there, and we're getting companies approaching us not because of Amazon, but because of YouTube. So, right. I think that sometimes when people put themselves into this like one basket, like all the people concerned about what's going to happen with TikTok, I make all my money on TikTok. We'll start figuring out where else can you, branch out so that you have kind of that backup plan. I think that's so important.
Yeah, I think you guys have done amazing things. And first, let me say, Chris, I just can't get rid of this picture in my brain. Every time I think of Jim, I think of Kim Kardashian. That's just what comes to mind. And,
I'm so sorry.
But I'm better looking.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's one of the first things that we learned. You guys gave so much great information there. I don't even know where to start, but I'm just going to start with, by diversifying and multi-streaming like we do, our shows with Scott and I and my other shows are all on multiple platforms. So like you said, if something goes away, but you also are building that brand so that you can take it wherever you want to go. And so I think that is what's really crucial about all that. And I really think that it's been interesting because you two have done such a great job. There's not a whole lot of people that really get into the Amazon arena doing that. And so I think that is been something very unique to you guys, which kind of sets you apart. And I know that Scott and I have appreciated the two of you immensely. And, Chris, you are such an amazing, you are repurposing so many great things. You and I met, and I think the clip about my book with you and I was on your page like every other week. You're repurposing it. I thought, wow, Chris is running that again. That's great. But no, I just love those kind of things because you get so much use out of all the things we're doing. That's why I love the process of live stream to, being a video podcast, to being an audio podcast, to repurposing the video every week on Marketing with Russ, which I don't do alone, by the way. Scott's helped me. You guys have helped me. I have Ever in the background, who's in our background right now, doing all the work, amazing people helping. But I learned to repurpose my marketing tip of the day and things like that go out separately, grab those little snippets. And I learned a lot of that from you guys. So anyway, hey, listen, I have got to be the responsible host and start wrapping things up. So Jim, give us your gold nugget of today and tell everybody how to get in touch with you. And then Chris will do you.
Okay, gold nugget of today. Well, I'll say because it's the day before Thanksgiving, don't eat too much turkey or you'll fall asleep and miss all the good football games. And you've got to watch Chris's Detroit Lions because they're doing amazing things on the gridiron this year. But best way to get a hold of me is I would say LinkedIn. Just look for Jim Fuhs. That's probably between that and Blue Sky. Those are the two platforms I'm spending the most time on now.
All right.
Like that
Chris?
Lions versus Bears. Oh my.
Oh my. Oh my. Yeah. My golden nugget, and Russ, I'll just sort of dovetail off what you talked about is repurposing. And this is a live show. You guys are just, you guys talk about the influence that Jim and I have had on you. You guys have taken that and really, just leveled it up and carved your own path. And we appreciate the gratitude there, but you guys have taken that and really taken it to new levels. So, this live show is fantastic to be able to, all these people are commenting and you've created this community. But also when you do create a live show, treat it like it's a recorded event for you to create content that when you're no longer here, it's your legacy. It's something you can leave behind. Mm-hmm. It's something you can inspire people in the future to do. Everything we do is recorded. Why not take it and repurpose it? Not everybody's seeing everything. All these platforms will choose what goes into people's algorithms, so you don't see everything that you put out, but you got to sprinkle that stuff out there because you never know when it impacts someone, when it comes back to you or comes back to someone else, it pays it forward. So always when you're thinking about a live show, think about it also as a recording and a way for you to take that content, repurpose it, and schedule it out so when you're not here, people can still be impacted by it.
I always say that I love to do the recordings because that way, if I say something profound, I can prove it to my wife.
That's your legacy right there.
There you go.
Still waiting, but we record.
We talked about how keeping it simple is so important. And that's one thing I've loved about this process, having people that like all of you that know way more than I do, but learning those processes. And because the live stream is automatically recorded and we can repurpose and do those kind of things, it's amazing the possibilities. And people get hung up with how many people do I have watching live? Well, forget about that because there's a ton of people that want to watch you that just can't watch live, right? But what happens? It sits there and people can watch for years and years after.
Listen. Right.
Or listen. You can convert that. They can listen. You can take those snippets. And when you do all of it together, you're getting thousands and thousands of people that are affected by your content. And so when people ask me a lot of times, what kind of numbers do you have? I said, it's so hard to figure that out because of what is happening in so many arenas. But I know that between all of our shows, just like you guys, there's thousands of people that are being affected by that content. And so I just think that's one thing that I learned from both of you is how to take that process, go full circle, and keep it a simple process. Because once you get it going, Scott and I have done this for a while now, and you're starting to figure it out a little bit. I'm on like 480 episodes of Marketing with Russ. Wow. And we're at 180. What was it, 187?
184. Here we are.
184.
You got to look over Chris's shoulder.
Yeah. And then we're doing the Experience Local and all the other things that have spawned off that. And it's been a lot of fun. So anyway, you two are amazing friends. And thank you for what an amazing impact you've had on me and Scott.
Thank you, Russ. That's great to hear. I appreciate it. So happy to be on the Experience. The Experience, as you know, I don't think normally, like a normal person, I guess, what someone would call quota. Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes normal can be boring, right? But when I hear the Experience, I always think of, those holograms, and they were doing hologram concerts, and they did one for Tupac, they did one for Frank Zappa. They did one for Ronnie James Dio, and they called it, the Dio Experience and the Frank Zappa Experience. I don't know why my brain always goes there.
That's kind of why we ended up rolling with that.
So I'm actually not Chris Stone. I'm an AI avatar. Experience. Right. And so I hope, at any point in time, if rocket emojis came out of my face and words like delving and game-changing, words that I'd never say, it came out, just hit regenerate and refresh.
GPT, it's tapestry. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much,
Even
guys.
If you guys never use that word ever again.
Exactly.
Well,
you guys
guys,
are awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah. We appreciate you both. We're going to send you out to the green room. Hang tight for just a sec. We'll see you after we wrap her up.
Well, like I said, it was like climbing the mountain to the feet of our gurus.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, it was such a fun process getting to know both of them. Mm-hmm. And, honestly, I am the slowest one of the whole group. I mean, you were way ahead of me. They were way ahead of me, but I have learned the secret about gleaning from amazing people. And I think when they talked about meeting, and Chris said they were like actually competitors, but, wanted to do things together. I learned from the get-go, Scott, that whether you and I do the same things and Jim and I and Chris and I do the same type of things, those are the people I want to hang out with. Those are the people I want to be friends with because I learned so much. And by helping and supporting them, I am helped and supported. And I can't tell you, and the amount of help and advice and just friendship they gave to you and I getting started. It makes the process so much better because we are better together. I say it over and over. And when we help each other, we all rise together.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have the mindset of scarcity, then they probably wouldn't have worked together. But if you have the mindset of abundance, that there's more work out there than any one of us can do, and we can do more if we work together, then life is much more fun. And an example of that is, so on the Waco Experience, an American story, which is broadcast on KBBW here in Waco, I'm interviewing, and it'll release this weekend, Rachel Velasquez from KWBU. That's the public radio station located over at Baylor University. Is it a competitor? Not really. I think we're all in this together. If we can support radio, then we're just better off.
Yeah, no, completely. And I think that's it, that when we come together and work with people, I think even radio and podcasting, all that kind of stuff seemed at odds when it first started, but they found a way to work together and complement each other. And everybody does all of it now. And since you and I have broken into doing more radio, it's a fun process to be able to work with people on that end as well. So
Indeed.
anyways, Scott, it's so amazing to be here with you every week. Don't forget, everybody, we're on the, thank you. We're on the, we're at local.theexperience.video for more information on the amazing D. Scott Smith and myself. And also our YouTube page, theexperience.video, and go straight there. You can get to it either way. But we really want to encourage you to connect with our guests today. They've been scrolling across the bottom, their LinkedIn pages. All of their contact information was in the comments. And I just really want to tell you guys that they are two individuals that you really, really want to connect with and learn from. And so I'm so thankful that we're all able to be here. Hashtag 1000 thanks to everybody. It's going to be an amazing Thanksgiving. And Scott, what's your final words for the day?
Yeah, I just encourage everybody, reach out to somebody that you haven't talked to recently. Send them a text, send them a voice message, talk to them on the phone, and I guarantee it will make your day.
Absolutely. That is great advice. I'll second that motion. And don't forget, he's at dscottsmith.com. I'm at russhedge.com. What a blessing it is to see y'all today. Happy Thanksgiving. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.